I work with their mind, body, and soul to reconnect to who they are, their authentic self. And I'm also certified as a virtual stylist. And so virtually, I help clients clean out their closets. And it's so much fun to be invited into such an intimate space in their house, but also in their minds.
I love that. I never would have thought as I kind of randomly clean out my closet, to like bring somebody into it with me or like have some, I mean, I guess I FaceTime my friends, right? But tell me a little bit about like how that experience works. What are those tips that you're giving people, as you're in their closet with them?
Yeah, so it usually begins outside of the closet to begin with. So I have a workbook that I walk through them with, and it's a really intimate call that we dive into getting clarity. So where are they now? How are they showing up? Because before you can change anything, you have to be clear with who are you being? What are you doing? What are you not doing? Right. And so clarity is always the first place to start. And I also have a process to get them clear in their minds because a lot of times we have so many to dos, so many appointments going in our minds, we can't even begin to be creative because we're full of physical clutter, but also mental clutter. So I help them clean that out first. And then I help them with vision. So some clients of mine have never created a vision board. They've never asked themselves the question or had anyone else ask them the question that if everything was possible, there was all the resources available, what is the vision for you for a perfect life or for that ideal life? That what is success for you? What does that even look like? And so I really get them to tap into their body. I get them present and allow them to paint that picture for me. And some women can, do a fantastic job and they know exactly what that looks like. Others have a more difficult time painting that picture for me. There's no judgment, of course, but it's always a beautiful experience. And so I get them to use all five senses, really tapping into those things that, where are they? What experiences are they having? Who are they with? What are you hearing? What are you feeling, tasting? And so then I kind of slip into what are you wearing? And so that begins the process of painting the picture of what she is going to look like and what she wants to wear. And so we compare that to how she's showing up and how she wants to show up. And then I kind of tie that all up with a nice little bow of their why. And so I think it's a beautiful process that I'll share with them so that they can really tap into the energy because it's not always easy to go into these dark places in our closet or in our minds, right? There's a lot of parallel with the two.
Very
That
true.
environmental clutter has a lot to do with the internal clutter, and so it's not always fun. And there's a reason why you haven't done it yet, and so I give them a reason why, and we start off with why are you hiring a stylist, but by the time we're finished with diving into their why, it's why is it so important that they really take care of themselves, honor their body, dress as their highest self. And it's so beautiful. Each woman is different. They all have something beautiful to share that's very unique to them. So that's where I kind of start. And then I have other processes that I use. I have lots of tools and tricks that I use. One of them is the 3 F's, I call it. I was calling it fit, function, and feeling, but then I had a download the other day and I'm like, I'm changing the feeling. That's so boring. I'm changing it to fancy. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I like
So it's
that.
fit, function, and fancy. So everything should fit, bottom line. I don't care if you've gained weight, if you've lost weight, if you still have clothes from high school, please get rid of that. Everything should fit like a glove on you. Okay. And so everybody is different. Everybody is beautiful, but they're all unique and different. And so we go over what are the, appropriate fits for you for the impact that you want to make with your body. And your clothes. And so the next thing is function. And so a lot of times we think we don't have clothes to wear, but we have plenty of clothes. They just don't serve the same function that maybe they did before. And so you have a different functional life. Say the pandemic is a perfect example of that. People went from corporate jobs, 9 to 5, outside of the home. What they wore to those things were a little bit different than stay at home, work from home kind of ordeals, right? There's ad leisure, there's so many different things. And so if you're a mom, stay at home mom, maybe you just do some things on Zoom. That's going to look different than if you're in a boardroom, right?
Yeah.
Or if you're a health and wellness coach and you want to do yoga and work out all the time, like you need those clothes. You can't have pencil skirts and nothing athleisure to wear. And so that is a big part of it that people kind of forget. We want to all just kind of dress like everyone else that we see on Instagram. But if you don't have their lifestyle, then you probably don't need those clothes that they're wearing. You need clothes that fit your lifestyle. And so the last one is fancy. And so the reason I named it fancy, I even looked it up, and the definition is, what are you attracted to? And so, I'm all about law of attraction. Um, and so what they're attracted to, what's your fancy basically. And so everybody's different, and so I'll walk them through, what kind of style do you love, what is your you know and it's usually 3 to 5 words. And so, is it sexy, is it playful, is it athletic, is it classic? There's so many different words that you can use to describe your style, and I feel like that's what the fancy part of it, and the feeling. And it's like, what does it feel like? Do you want to feel edgy? Do you want to feel sexy? Do you want to feel classic? Do you want to feel, playful? And so that's where that kind of comes from. A lot of my clients, however, they think that some of the words that they want to choose is flattering, or they want to choose comfortable. And I'm like, no way, we're not choosing those words, because every woman should be wearing something flattering. Every woman should be wearing something that's comfortable. That's a huge part of our clothes. If it's not flattering, it's not comfortable, then you're not going to enjoy wearing it, and you're going to feel like you have nothing to wear. So,
I love that. And I just want to say that having helped women through the weight loss journey, body confidence is completely a piece of that puzzle, and how we're showing up as everything's changing. Because with weight loss, your body and where we're going with it, right, is the top priority for you. It's the thing you think about the most. And I love that you're taking that time and associating words with people, because it really is that personal development layer that comes with change, and it's already so courageous to reach out to a stylist, to, say,
mm,
I'm okay where I'm at right now, but I know I can be better, or I know I can feel more fulfilled or confident or authentic. And that's really why I loved bringing you in here, because when vision's missing, to me, there's a lot more of a slippery slope that you can maybe stop doing the transformation work, or you decide that, it's not going to work, and you drop yourself back into the yo-yo dieting, or whatever that is on a health context. And so I think, when
mhm.
you're aligned with your style and you're feeling beautiful, and you truly believe some of those words and take that time to envision it, you're that much closer to, saying, this is a lifestyle. This isn't, I'm, dieting really hard for this amount of time, and if I don't hit this, I'm a good person, and if I do hit this, I'm, and so some of that, limiting thinking, I think, is really important. Do you remember when you had your first vision around style and things? I'm just kind of curious what that story is.
Yeah, so I mean, I've always loved fashion and clothes and style, but then I became a pharmacist and I started wearing scrubs, and I was a mom and like just not wearing cute clothes at all. My daughter was dressed amazing. She had the best wardrobe. I was like just sending all of my creativity towards her, and a little bit to my boys. So I have twin boys, I have a daughter. They're all teenagers now. Um, but I'm turning 45, and this is my birthday month. But when I was turning 30, I was actually 39 turning 40. That was kind of the tipping. So I was like, I had
Okay.
lost so much of who I was and what I love to do, my passion. It's a kind of a long story, but I ended up becoming a sponsor at Fashion Week. And the first night at Fashion Week, I was like, it felt like I had come home, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I have been missing this so much. But before then, I had actually cleaned out my own closet. And so my closet needed to be cleaned out. And I was thinking, I was in another business and I was thinking this would be a great challenge to do for people. I could do a closet, clean out your closet challenge. We can clean out our closet challenge together because, of course, I love it so much. I'm thinking everybody's going to love this. Everybody needs to do this. It was so much fun. I put on music and was dancing. I was cleaning out like it got me out of my head and got me to drop into my body and into presence. And it gave me so much clarity to clean out that physical space that I was able to laser point all of that into my business. And it just kind of like revitalized me. So that's kind of like where I got recharged with it. Other than that, I think it's just in my DNA from my grandmother and my aunt, a little bit of my mom. My mom's not really big into style. She's very classic, but she was always very well presented and put together. And so I think that's where it kind of all started. And as far as I share the style method for the morning routine, so that was another thing that I had started when I was 39, turning 40. I implemented a morning routine. So I did those two things and it completely changed my world. And so those are the things that I help with my clients with. So I'm happy to share with you what those things stand for if we have time. If not, I'm happy to share it with your audience in a PDF or something like that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to go over the style method. I have it in my notes, so that's exciting. But before we get there, what I want to kind of reiterate to the audience about what you
Mhm.
said is that you're always having your style live in a culture. And, here at Firewave Wellness and in the Well-Fed Warrior system, the three pillars are really like, okay, what's going on with you biologically, right? Like, what's the science? What do we know is the science of how your body is doing this and that? But then there's culture that you live inside of. And then there's the perspective about your culture and biology that you have. And what I love about kind of bringing you in, Danielle, is we're in very different cultures, you being from the South and me being in Southern California, but we have clients that like crosslap. Like I have people, in Louisiana or things like that. And I think what's beautiful is when you have a really clear understanding of how your business can support someone's heart, the heart across the board is the same. And then having people feel really good in their culture and think about, does that really fit me? Or like you mentioned, like, do I just see it online? And if it doesn't fit me, then I think I'm, less than because it doesn't work on my body. And so many of those conversations, in my opinion, like keep people trapped or like in that smaller thinking where they're not authentic, they don't feel confident. And so I just really want people to hear that, like how you're thinking about your culture, whether it's around food, whether it's around the clothes you're putting on your body, and where you're at physically matters. And you're totally right. Like you called me out. Like,
Mhm.
I know you have workout clothes and I get to be both women. And I think,
Yeah.
I mean, you've not cleaned out my closet, but I would maybe love you to sometime because I feel very like sporty spice, and it's like half my week. And then the other half of my week is like, well, I'm 30 and like I want to be young and hip and sometimes edgy, but I also have, a lot of professional connections and like will wear pencil skirts and a suit, and so I think we're
Mhm.
always kind of merging both of those, and culture is so important. And the ladies in your life before you probably play a part in everybody's life. Like I know you're saying that your parents or your mom and
Mhm.
your grandma and stuff, but if you're listening to this, take a moment and think about that. Think about, was there some of those stories, good ones or maybe even bad ones about your mom? Like I can hear my mom maybe telling me to change my clothes when I was younger. And you're a mom too, so maybe you do some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen my own daughter how she's evolved. Like she before, she had to have like the thing to wear, and now I spent so much money on her whenever she was like 3, and going up, and now it's like all coming down because she wears like the 5 sweatshirts and sweatpants, and like so now I'm like, okay, I can invest in my own wardrobe now because she's not interested. I'm not forcing it on her. I'm definitely not telling her what to wear. So
Yeah. And I think that self-expression is huge, right? Because then at some
yeah.
point when you have other vision conversations, when she hires a coach and she goes to college or whatever that is, she's already has belief in her own vision and
Yeah.
authenticity. And I think that's a big piece of coaching and breakthrough into vision into implementation.
Exactly. And I'm a big believer in coaches, and she's already had a coach. So she had an incident with a classmate, and, I saw that she was struggling. And even though I'm a coach, they don't, you can't necessarily coach your family sometimes. And so I got her a coach that was in the UK. It was for teenagers, and it was the best thing, really. It helped so much. So,
I love that. Well, let's go into your style method. So tell me a little bit about how you take people through that.
yeah, so it's the morning routine. So it's Style My Morning, and there is a journal PDF. I would love to share that with your audience if that works out for you guys. And so the S is for silence. And so I think everyone should sit in silence in the morning, whether that's meditation or prayer. There should be some space where you're carving out some time in order for you to clear out your thoughts. Because what happens is that, like I said before, we have all of these thoughts and all of these to-dos, and it clouds your mind. And you're not, number one, you're not able to be creative if you have all of that. Plus, if you're wanting to create change and there's no space in your mind, that's the first place to look, because when you change your thoughts, you can change your life. And so if there's chatter going on, start meditating, start doing breathing techniques, do yoga, whatever that looks like for you. Find something that works for you. For me, it was guided meditation. I had never meditated before. The only reason I tried it was because I kept hearing about it. And I was like, you know what, last resort, I'm going to try this just to shut people up and tell them it doesn't work. And then it became a habit. It became something that I'm addicted to. And so I just know that when I meditate, my day goes right. When it doesn't, it's out of control. And so that's the first thing. So silence. So sitting in silence. The T is for tailor your thoughts. We have tens of thousands of thoughts. Most of them are negative. More than 70% are negative, depending on the person. But if you're waking up in the morning, grabbing a cup of coffee, checking, emails, watching the news, checking social, you probably have a lot of negative thoughts, especially in the morning. So tailoring your thoughts. Our thoughts have power. And so I teach my clients about that, how to start choosing better thoughts. And we do that in the morning by actually creating affirmations that are personalized to them. And so affirmations are a powerful thing that if you repeat over and over and over, them by themselves don't necessarily have power. But at the end of the method, I'll share with you what gives them the power. So the Y is your vision. We've already talked about that. So I get them to write out their vision, like in one or two very short sentences that they can easily write every morning, because repetition is gold, especially if you're talking about neuroplasticity and changing that picture that's going on in our minds every day. So now you have something, not only that are you reminded of every day that you're walking towards, but you also, it's like a rehearsal. And the mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. And whenever you show that picture in your mind over and over and over again, after a while, it thinks it's already been done. And so when the scary thing to take the action towards it happens, sometimes it's like you feel like you've already done it. It feels like deja vu almost. So good. You're shaking your head. So I know you totally know what I'm talking about. So that's the vision. And that's your why. The L is for learning. So I feel that is imperative that we are constantly learning and growing. It's important for our spirit. So remember, I'm a mind, body, spirit coach. And so that is something that's often lacking in women, especially, is that we're so busy taking care of everyone else, we kind of forget about ourselves. For me, it was especially important because I'm a self-help guru. Like I'm like addicted to it. And so when I was no longer doing, it was kind of the same thing with fashion. When I was no longer growing and learning, I felt like I was dying. One of the things, so I'm actually a pharmacist by trade, and one of the things that I was attracted to pharmacies was the fact that you have to have continuing education. Most people would have been like, I no way when I'm out of school I want to be done. But for me, that feels just expansive and So I get them to read. You should be reading something, even if it's a page a day, a chapter a day, whatever you can commit to is so important. Because if you look at from the beginning of a year to the end of the year, if you have read every day or at least 5 days a week, you have gained all of that knowledge that you would not have. So it's super important, as important as any other. And the E is for embodiment. So the E is the most important step of all of it. And it really is what unlocks the power of the whole method. The E is for embodying the love and gratitude, embodying your why, embodying the vision. All of that moves energy in your body and allows you to feel like, number one, raise your vibration if you're in gratitude, right? It's an antidote for anything you're feeling negative about. But it also helps you to really put on that coat, lock it in that I am her now. Like I feel it. Like when I walk them through their vision, the last thing I ask them is, what does it feel like once that's already done? Once you have all those things, what does she feel? And we feel that in your body. I ask them, where do you feel it in your body? Ask them to give it a color, give it a number. What intensity is it? Really locking it in so that when opportunities come their way throughout the day and it's in alignment in that same energy vibration, they recognize it. It's the most powerful thing, and that's really empowering them. So that's the S.T.Y.L.E method. It's really impactful if you can commit to it 5 to 7 days a week. Of course, if you did it every day, it'd be amazing. But sometimes we like to take the weekend off, or we just want to sleep in. And the other thing is that you don't have to do it in the morning, but it's just so much more impactful if you do it first thing, because, like I said, it's like putting this coat of armor on for the rest of your day almost.
I think it's huge. And to give people a framework is really important. When someone is coming to a coach, or a consultant like us, we're maybe not clear where the stress is coming from, or how we got to where we're at now. We just know we need to get out and find version 2.0. And what I really
Mhm.
enjoy about S.T.Y.L.E is it's simple. It's something that you can write a statement to yourself and then carry it with you. And what I see a lot is maybe you don't believe that there's time in your morning to do that, right? Life's demands are coming loud and proud at you. And it's a really powerful way to say, I'm going to go put something on the universe too and let it show up for me. So thank you for sharing that, Danielle.
You're welcome. I love it. It's my passion. If you can't, if you haven't noticed, I could talk all day
Yeah.
about this stuff.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I want to talk luxury a little bit, like luxury brands, and then I know you have a free offering to give the listeners, but there is a lot of different opinions about luxury brands. I feel like I'm still kind of learning, and we've talked about your poster a little bit off video, but I want to just kind of open it up, and if there was anything that you could share, maybe with your past self, or somebody who is really looking, right, this show is for those ambitious people who are building their practice, right? You want to make more money, you want to make a bigger impact. Can you tell me a little bit about like your perspective on that?
Yeah, what I would love to say, well, of course, I've manifested this perfect little portrait of all the luxury brands. However, my clients, they're not necessarily looking for only luxury brand items. And, to each their own. I personally am not a huge luxury brand owner to begin with. Fashion has nothing to do with that per se. It really is about who you are, what cut are you wearing, do they look good on you, have you defined your style? If you want to wear a luxury brand, that's a personal choice, and I never put that on a client. I have had one client in the recent past that she was a go-getter, badass. She was on stages. And so we were hitting, Saks Fifth Avenue. We were shopping at all those places. But that was her brand. If I tried to put that on my very first client, who she was a pharmacist at Walmart, and she was very much a supporter of Walmart. she was a social media brand for Walmart. And so she felt it was important to shop at that type of budget. And so we were able to create something that was very authentic to her, but you're never limited. So regardless, one thing that I am getting more and more passionate about is sustainable and eco-friendly. I'm reading a book right now. It's called The Conscious Closet. Just yesterday I was reading about that, so it's so timely that you were asking me about brands. And the conscious closet does call for buying more quality, higher quality things and less of them. Still doesn't have to be name brand. I would prefer, instead of you getting a luxury brand, to get an eco-friendly, sustainable brand and do some education on that. And the link that I shared with you, it actually does have a post where I share some of those brands that you can go and support that are having an eco-friendly, sustainable impact on our environment and on our lives. So
Yeah, thank you. And I know we have that in common, just being able to say, hey, every dollar is that purchase in the direction of what we believe our life is, you know, creating, what we want to create for ourselves, what we're manifesting. And so the more dollars in the directions that feel aligned to you really matter, and I think higher quality products, right? And having it for 10 years and having some of those memories around it, like your favorite jean jacket, let's say, as that example, it begins to have more meaning in your life. It begins to play a role in that identity, and obviously your identity is always going to come from your heart and soul. But how can we make those things kind of sparkle on the outside? And there's plenty of influencers that can continue to teach you that. But we didn't talk too much about it, but I definitely have like a minimalist understanding, even though we have this space to fill every wall in every closet. And,
mhm.
but we don't, because we have so much of those, things where it's, I know the shirts that make me feel really good, and I'm not willing to bring in anything if I don't feel really good. And I want people to get there too for themselves.
Yeah, that's what I want for everyone. Every woman deserves that. And it's not a number, it's not having more clothes. You probably have more clothes than you could possibly need in a lifetime right now. And you still think that you don't have anything to wear. So we realize that number is not the problem. It's the quality, it's having the right thing that's aligned with you and authentic to who you are, and your body and your lifestyle and that kind of thing. So, and really just knowing what you love. So it sounds like which tops look good on you. You know which ones you love wearing. Some people don't have that. It doesn't come natural to them. And so that's why it's really important to hire a stylist and to invest in that, because I can teach you how to do that. It's so funny because yesterday on Instagram, one of my past clients was sharing her closet, and her closet was a mess, right? So it's not something that like you solve and then it's never happening again. Each season, like you usually have this problem,
Yeah.
and we have to do it. And so it's getting in that habit of doing that more often. But I was like crossing my fingers. I was like, it felt like I had, does she need to hire me every time she needs to clean her closet? No, because now she has the strategies. But I was just like crossing my fingers, is she going to figure it out on her own? And is she just going to be in the drama of it? She had it done the next day. She had music going. She had so much fun. She sent me her playlist. She sent me the before and after pictures. And I was so proud of her because now she has the strategy. She knows what she loves. She knows how to clean out her closet. Like she doesn't need to hire a stylist every single time. She can hire a stylist whenever she's going on a trip or whenever she's going take branding photos. And so I'm happy to support the clients anyway where they are in their current lives. So it was just a very proud coach moment.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay, well, that's a perfect way to talk to you about how you can get in touch with Danielle. Tell us a little bit about your free offering, that you're giving exclusively for this summit, and then they can read more below as well.
Yeah, so I'll share the link where you can click on it, see my calendar, schedule to get on my calendar for a consult call, and also I'll send that style journal page. So if you want to start implementing the style morning routine in your everyday life, then you can have the journal to go with that. So
Awesome, Danielle. Thank you so much for being, a part of this women's health event. It means so much to get your perspective, to talk about culture, and just really what it means to have that authentic confidence. So thank you for being here, and everybody else, we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Mia. Appreciate it. It was so much fun.
Bye.